Welcome to Vague Wanderings by School of the Damned. Today we're focusing on the experimental DIY collective and venue Alkaline that's based in Guangzhou, China. We're here live in the studio with Edward Sanderson, who'll be doing readings through the next hour on DIY culture, and bringing you interviews with Lin and Pen from Alkaline.
But first, here is how Alkaline describe themselves. We're not a club, nor an art space. We're a collectively built, hands-on reality, a body conceived in the city's nooks and crannies, constantly subletting, growing, resonating. We've opened up spaces, dismantled them, hosted noise and experimental shows, parties, raves. We've existed nomadically, in fields, basements, practice rooms, bomb shelters, under bridges, riverbanks. Every location, performance, disturbance and every cable ever dragged was a trial, an encounter, a becoming. Now, all our history slams into this moment. Fragments converge, forming a new complex. It's not just a venue, it is a continuation, a response. Here, new blood and past techers will keep trading beats, until the very end. System halts, current breaks. Every sound leaves its echo, just like our bodies exchanging energy. Reboot. Rewire. Ready.
Hello, hello.
I think I can start with when we met each other. Like some friends, I met them 7 years ago. And at that time, I'm still on college and I'm studying like traditional music. And then I know them, I just not listen electronic too much, and the friend just grabbed me to organize some DIY shows. And that at that time, many friends, many people, too many things to discuss, never end like this.
Yeah, we just have so many people. Like right now, I think in the group we have 15 people. 15 people, but only 4 people in Guangzhou now, and the other person in Shenzhen, and would come to Guangzhou when we have shows.
Last year, I'm a tough year for me because I spent all of my energy and time to running Alkaline. So I don't have personal life, and I'm really exhausted for it. So like this year, I have to spend more time to figure out how I can save more money for myself. Alkaline cannot fix your personal financial problem. Yeah.
Just try to make some money to keep everything good, but we also don't want to accept sponsorship from anyone, from the society, because that may influence our decision on what kind of gigs that we put on. Sometimes I feel like we were pushed a little bit by what's going on, because there's a lot of things we have to learn about. We have to learn how to do the business, and we have to face the society because it's public. Actually, we are licensed in the sense of opening a commercial space. Like we have the bar, so we are licensed to buy the alcohol, but we don't have license for like putting up shows. Actually, that's very common here because you have to meet a certain degrees of standard. You have to meet the standard to apply for the license, and it's pretty hard for a lot of space actually. And I think sometimes the officials, like the government, just I think they know, but sometimes they just wouldn't care. But the other situation is they might see something weird on the internet because everyone is using like the Red Book, everyone is using the WeChat official account. So if they see like something really weird, or maybe like some posts are just got viral, and maybe you'll get in some trouble. I think for now, we just want to survive. And there's so many problems in our daily lives even. Just too many problems. We now, I want to survive, but not in the political sense. And I think because it's completely different culture background between us, we wouldn't talk about this a lot or anymore here, and sometimes you feel like you can't do nothing at the moment. If we can still have gigs going on, maybe that's something. I think for the space, when it lasts longer enough, it will leave something for people. Maybe 10 years later, it could be something to reflect on. At least something happened.
I live in Hainan for half year, 8 months around, and during the COVID also, yeah. Like I want to escape from this city, and the house was really beautiful and really chill every day. I also learn surfing. Some friends who also are musicians, they come visit us to Hainan. So we hang around like go to some natural place, mountain or beach near the ocean, and we find some place that really interesting. And we just decide to DIY some gigs at that time. Yeah, that's how we started. This show is like a series. Like we find three places to have the gigs. Like the first place is a volcano cave, and the second place is a abandoned tunnel. And the third place is a room, but I think it tried to build as a hotel, so it's quite unique style.
哪
Like
种
you
呢？
就是那个圆顶废墟
哦哦，
，it's like a bit 有点欧式的那种，
但它是废弃的还是建设的？
废弃的，
嗯
应该是本来要修个酒店，然后废弃了。And this three place after we promotion the gig, and actually it's it's more audience than we thought. And even we never invite any people like you come to the show like this, because the volcano cave, I think we sell close to 10 tickets. I think it's quite a lot because it's a nowhere place. And the abandoned tunnel, I think maybe 20 people come or more, and also included our friend, I think.
And I think that's also because Hainan is a famous tourist place, so always some like chill people there. They would be interesting in some fun stuff.
Yeah, but they don't have the scenes, like the music scenes.
Oh yeah, they don't have like clubs events.
I don't think there's too many audience, like focus on the experimental music is not
Very
too many.
few.
Yeah. The daily gigs we host for the international artists who play electronic or experimental. Sometimes good, we can sell 20, even 30 tickets. It's already good.
And I think in this society, especially like us, because it's not mainstream, so you have to leave the image, or you have to like document yourself. I think we actually got more attention from the worldwide, the worldwide instead of like the local. I think we would like attract more international artists to perform here if they doing the Asia tour. But for the local audience or local musicians, not too many.
As many of our friends, they are also LGBTQ, so.
But I think we didn't try. We didn't try to do it deliberately, right? It's just a lot of friends. They're just queer, so.
Yeah, we 怎么说？我觉得没有很公开的、明确的在做这个活动。
We didn't say that publicly. It's just we happen to have many friends who are queer and they like to come to our space to see the show. So it's kind of just naturally build up this scene, yeah. But we wouldn't say it like public.
Is there a risk of saying it publicly?
Definitely, yes. I think even if there's no any risks, this is not the main point.
So I come to this very much as a researcher and an academic. I'm just going to read out a bit of my PhD, which was all about this kind of subject. Returning to the subject of reticence, this research proposes that non-mainstream organizations find agency under conditions of domination by adopting such reticent practices. Regarding the subjects of this research, and in this case I'm talking about the spaces and the practices in China, the actors appear to act reticently in their negotiations with the technological platforms of live streaming. The themes and the lessons that we can learn from the ways that these artists and practices negotiate the online situation can also apply to the physical spaces as well. So the themes can be generalized. In many cases, they do this by not engaging actively with the social features of these platforms. And these are the major areas, these social features are the major areas, the major means by which interaction is provided by the platforms. These are often called affordances in the technological sense, and I discuss this a lot in my PhD about what affordances are, what they allow, what they don't allow. And these kind of ideas of affordances can transfer back into the physical space. What is it that the social situation, the urban situation, the physical spaces that these people are using, what affordances are allowed to them and what affordances are not allowed to them. And then that dictates to a certain extent what is possible and what actually happens. This applies to China, this applies everywhere actually, of course. This deliberate reticence, this maintaining of conditions where the actor's engagement with the social features is left unresolved, is here in my PhD argued to be a part of the negotiations that comprise their attempts to forego co-optation by the platform. And again, co-optation is a big deal for me. How do people avoid being usurped by the demands of their surroundings? How do, in my particular case, the technological platforms, how do the people who use those platforms maintain their own agency? How do they just basically do what they want to do without being just diverted into the ways that the platform wants them to do things? So that is agency for me in these kind of situations. The actors entering into experiments with live streaming and the consequent difficulties they negotiate with the platform's affordances are understood to be expressions of their agency within the dominating environment of the platform. And this emergence and realization of agency potentially inspires instances of public spheres. Now, taking the kind of day-to-day, let's say, negotiations with the platforms, I then kind of try to look at the bigger picture. What is the public sphere that emerges in these situations? What is the negotiation, the discussions that can take place with a greater public? This kind of bigger question that I was arguing became very important to me about how these physical spaces, how these negotiations with online spaces could lead to bigger negotiations with society, with the powers that be, these kind of things. In my PhD, I had a section titled Uncommercial, Unco-opted, Reticent but Not Withdrawn, where I was trying to make a distinction between these kind of ideas of reticence as opposed to a complete withdrawal from society or anything like that. and where the power lay in terms of maintaining a sort of ambivalent relationship to society and to the dominating context in which you are trying to act and perform. Obviously, from the sociological side of things, I was thinking a lot about Pierre Bourdieu's work about the ideas of capitals that various actors can wield in their engagement with society, and symbolic capital seem quite appropriate in these kind of actors' cases, where it would play some part in their potential for autonomy from the logics of, in this case, the online platforms that I was dealing with in my PhD. And that occurred in their ability to say, quote, no, like to the demands placed on them, or at least avoid complete co-optation by those demands. Another quote I drew from a writing about Bourdieu's writings was the degree of autonomy of a specific realm of activity is defined by its ability to reject external determinants and obey only the specific logic of the field, governed by specific forms of symbolic capital. So each of these actors, they have certain needs and things that they want to do, and how far can they push their demands to enact those needs and the things that they want to do in the situations they find themselves in is really what I was interested in. So within all my kind of research, I try to keep an eye on the locality where things are happening and try to look at, of course, what actually happens, and also how that's affected by their local environment, the communities around them, where they can set up shop, what is possible within the spaces that they find in those areas. You know, this comes down to very practical things like noise volume. I did a long piece about a space in Beijing called Fruity Space, where it was a basement underneath a noodle shop in the middle of Beijing. They were continually getting complaints from the neighbors because anything which went above a certain decibel level was obviously, the sound was bleeding out into the public environment. So how do they deal with that is very much the kind of questions that I was asking in this kind of context.
I organized the event on Sunday. Because I also I'm a photographer. I do a lot of visuals. I'm also very interested in the projection mapping. Try to create an, I think it's an environment maybe. Because I was very interested in the field recordings for many years, and I also have the habit to record the sound, and for me it's a different experiences. I think maybe combine those two things together would be interesting. Qingming, it's so festival to us, to memorial the ancestors. 清明还能说什么？
清明是干嘛的？哦，
纪念祭
对对对，
祖的吗？
就是祭祖的。Like we
清明
叫什么 纪念先人吗？就是你也会去给你的亲人上坟？
上坟
逝去的。
说的话呀。Like you would go to your ancestors' cemetery, yeah, just to talk to them, to make the connection. It's a coincidence that the Qingming and the Easter, right? The Easter happened to be the same day. And yeah, and that, I don't know, that, and plus my event, that just makes me feel good. Yeah, and this is outside view. We have all the big windows here and also here. So yeah.
Yeah, I just got my drink.
Yeah. This is actually a dead end. We are right at the dead end of a road, and the residents nearby usually walk here for exercise. For example, I don't know if you can see that old man there. He's doing exercise right now. 好像是太极拳，也太极，对。And it's a river here, and this is the bar. Really like the light, also from friends. Also the tapes, also from friends who are self-releasing stuff for many artists. Albums from Lin. Yeah, and some stickers. And the T-shirt from the friend, also self-made.
Yeah, I met her. She is a fascinating person. What was her name again? Sua Sultan.
Yeah, yeah. 那个，哎，叫啥来着？我就咋突然忘了？哦，谢涵，涵姐，yeah，谢涵。
Xihan. I wanted to buy a cassette from her. And like it was the most chaotic thing I've ever experienced of like her like
Yeah, I
trying
can
to work out
imagine,
how to
man.
get money from me and like also trying to eat an apple and like this blend of like running around like wanting to buy like yeah it
Yeah.
was a magical
I
10
can
15 minutes.
totally imagine. She's legendary.
On that note, bought some of this shirt. Bought one for you.
Monkey box.
Oh, on that note, bought some of this shit. Bought one for you.
Every time it makes my heart. Angel. Don't laugh.
Part of my research, I obviously looked into a lot of the history behind these spaces, and at this point I just wanted to kind of name check a lot of the spaces which predated Alkaline, and my research was mostly based around Beijing at this point, so I have a certain bias towards that city, which is not to say that there were not spaces elsewhere, but at this point I'll just list a few spaces which were important for me in Beijing. Going way back into the historical times, in 1998 there was the Scream Club, which opened in Beijing, which was one of the first punk venues, very important club and bar, and also published a lot of material at that point. Then we have Old Wat Bar, Lao Shima Zhoudian, from 2001 to 2016. Very important small bar across the road from Zhongnanhai in Beijing, the center of government in Beijing. The Sugar Jar, run by Lao Yang, from 2003 to 2005 in Haidian district, and then in the 798 art district afterwards. Yugon Yishan from the more indie rock kind of side of things, but also hosting a lot of experimental music. Then in 2006 we have the most important, the very important, the D22 club in Haidian, the university district, which was the place where many groups and bands cut their teeth. A lot of student bands in that era were starting out in D22. D22 closed in 2012, and then the Club XB took over a bit further into the center of Beijing from 2012 to 2015. Around 2008, you had the Home Shop in Beisenchao in Beijing, which was a kind of art community-run space, initially founded by Elaine Ho and Fortini. So that was also a very important venue for sound and performance and experimental work to be hosted. This was more on the kind of art side of things, perhaps, but definitely a community-run space. You had Rain Temple, a very interesting kind of alternative noise rock kind of space from 2010 in Tongzhou in the east of Beijing. Zajia Lab in 2010 again to 2015. School Bar opened in 2010, which is another punk space. Meridian Space was a small cafe which hosted Yan Jun's Miji Club for many years. And then some smaller spaces like Autu Space, SOS Bar, Your Space, and the Fruity Space, which I mentioned before. Some other sort of non-Lifehouse kind of spaces would be 20% Space, which was Michael Pettis of Maybe Mars, his own kind of office and home, which he gave over to performances for a while. And also Yan Jun, who I mentioned just now, has his own Studio H in an apartment in Beijing. And then outside of regular spaces, you also have people in public going out into underpasses like Sanyuan Qiao, the Zoom In Nights by Zhu and Bo. And also Wang Zeheng did his SOS performances in that same area. And also if you go into the mountains outside of the city, Wang Zeheng was performing festivals out in those spaces. Also Li Jianhong and Wei Wei set up some performances in the mountains, so completely outside of regular venues in that case.
Cocktail menu. We actually very low price for the cocktail, and we usually put up the poster here so that people can see from here. We also made stairs over here because, as I said, this is a dead end, and the subway and it's like closer to the subway from here. Yeah, so we just made the stairs so that people can just, just cross the window. And those are the two stone line stone lines. Because in Chinese the dead end means bad feng shui. So like friends ask some like spiritual people, and they told us to get those two stone line to just protect us. I don't know if that's working. And those are the albums that we like, and painted by a friend. Well, it looks pretty shaggy now, cause Guangzhou raining a lot during the spring, and we didn't quite take care of the rooftop. We also got this old vintage piano from a friend. It's kind of broken, but you can still use it. And also friends made this because Guangzhou is famous of the fabrics. So we went to we like sometimes we would have events also on the rooftop, like the fair or barbecue, something like that. So when a friend came, we went to the fabric market to buy this, and very cheap, like just I think it's just 2 or 5 yuan for each. And during the winter, we would set a fire here. That's our pot, like the fire pot, but it's full of the rainwater now. I didn't even know that.啊，有个什么狗？狗啊？
天天那里的
没有哎，我刚上来。对，什么颜色的？
黄色。
哦，没看到。The guy is looking for his dog. Yeah, it's pretty windy today. The manifesto, I think that's kind of like a legacy of what has happened before. But when we opened this space, we just didn't know what would happen, maybe like next month. And like the whole feeling, like I can still feel about the manifesto. There's also some things changing. But I think people are like constantly reflecting on that also, but we just need more time to think about it. But this is a good chance for us to just, you know, confront the reality, but also as a whole, as a collective. Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Vague Wanderings by School of the Damned. We've been live in the studio with readings from Edward Sanderson. This episode was produced by Titus Barker and Ollie Godwin. Massive thank you to Lin and Peng for talking to us and telling us all about Alkaline and the projects. The sounds and music you've been hearing are from Lin, Rujan, Shuyang Ni, Mo, Peng, Postmodern Hippie, Siwa Sultan, and Zhongzhao Shu.